Hi, I'm Teja Gerken with Peghead Nation, and today I'm here with a very cool custom Santa Cruz Double O. The Double O is a guitar that's been in the Santa Cruz lineup for a long time. It's really a mainstay within their program, and you may be familiar with the Double O Sky model. That's the Eric Sky signature model, which I believe has become their best-selling Double O, and we have a demo of Eric showing us that guitar here on Peghead Nation. But there are lots of variations to the Double O concept that Santa Cruz has offered for a long time. And the guitar I have here is really a wonderful example of how to take the basic Double O design, which is of course based on a classic 12-fret Double O Martin design from the 1920s, and really bring it up to a super modern guitar that respects tradition in a way that is really unique to the way Santa Cruz handles their custom guitars. So a standard Santa Cruz Double O would be a guitar built with Indian rosewood back and sides. It wouldn't have a cutaway. It would have a slotted peg head like a vintage Double O would have. And there's lots of other differences between this guitar and the standard one, which is the great thing about Santa Cruz, is that they are essentially a custom shop. You have standard models, you can order them, they're available, but really the majority of the output sort of customizes and modifies those instruments either to an end customer's desires or in the way that the luthiers at Santa Cruz decide that they want to build a guitar, perhaps given to a particular set of wood that they have available or something that they've just been wanting to try. So this guitar, you can tell right away it has a sunburst top, it has a cutaway, which is unusual for a 12-fret Double O type guitar. Wonderful idea, because if you feel that a 12-fret guitar won't give you enough room to get up to the upper frets, adding the cutaway really gives you easy access, I'd say, all the way up here to the 17th fret. Kind of maybe not quite as far as a 14-fret guitar with a cutaway, but certainly more than a 14-fret guitar without a cutaway, and really excellent access up here to the upper regions. Sunburst top, it's also an Adirondack top, so that's already an upgrade there. The guitar also has Adirondack bracing. It's got hide glue construction all the way around. You probably noticed it has the solid peg head rather than the slotted peg head, which really comes down to a personal preference. I find solid peg heads to be a little bit easier to restring. People feel like the angle of the string behind the nut may affect the sound of the guitar as well. Just a different approach to the guitar's construction. Certainly in the case of a Double O, which would be a slotted peghead guitar traditionally, it sort of makes it a little bit more modern. I think it's a cool feature to consider with a custom guitar like this. Really the star of the show of this guitar is the koa that's used for the back and sides. Really spectacular set of koa, super figured, gorgeous flame in there. It's got a thin center strip in here, Ivoroid heel cap and binding all the way around on the guitar. Obviously great koa on the sides as well, both the back and sides. And koa is a wood that Santa Cruz has used really since the very beginning of the company. And when Richard Hoover first started building koa guitars, it was sort of unusual. At the time in the early 70s, people were familiar with it from some old vintage Martins and other guitars, but really seeing koa on a new guitar was unusual at the time, and it's a wood that Santa Cruz has always favored, and certainly on this guitar it not only looks spectacular, but combined with this Adirondack top, it really just is a lovely sounding instrument. As soon as I picked this guitar up, I was really kind of taken by the incredible response and sort of the detail that the guitar is able to convey. Just a really precise sounding instrument. Would be a wonderful guitar in the studio. Every note just really has this presence that I don't always find. Beautiful mid-range. Some guitars have sort of an unusual peak or a real dip in the mid-range, but this guitar is just just has this beautiful balance where the bass is never overwhelming, even though I'm in drop D tuning right now, and super balanced up the neck. So that kind of presence and detail and response to the guitar just makes it an incredible fingerstyle guitar, and really doesn't sound like a small guitar. I don't think of a double O as a particularly small instrument, but certainly it's smaller than popular grand auditoriums, OMs, and these types of guitars. And I think it's an instrument type that fingerstyle players really should consider more often. Some other details about this guitar is we have a pyramid bridge, and the like on all Santa Cruz guitars, the saddle is pitched back just ever so slightly, which Santa Cruz feels will help improve intonation as you're adjusting the saddle height over the life of the guitar. And wooden bridge pins, of course. We have an abalone rosette, double ring abalone rosette. Herringbone purfling around the top of the guitar, really great looking, especially with this sunburst top. We have the Santa Cruz logo at the 12th fret, no logo on the peg head, and small dots for position markers. I already mentioned the Ivoroid binding. And every time I get a Santa Cruz guitar in here, I'm just really knocked out by the level of craftsmanship that the company adheres to. We're used to a very elevated level of craftsmanship in general with today's custom guitars and luthier-made guitars, but there's something about Santa Cruz that really ramps it up even just a little bit more. It really is just some of the finest joinery and fit and finish that you will see on a guitar. There's really, I hesitate to say flawless when describing the craftsmanship of an instrument, but there really isn't anything on this guitar that I found that I could point out in that regard. So that's the custom Santa Cruz 00, built with gorgeous koa back and sides, beautiful Adirondack spruce top, sunburst finish, some real modern touches like the cutaway and the solid peg head. Just a great example of the kind of hybrid of vintage inspiration and sort of modern execution and modern ideas that Santa Cruz has been famous for, and it's a great example of how they can deliver that in a great package like this. I'm going to go out, since I mentioned the 00 size for Santa Cruz in relation to the Eric Sky signature model earlier, I'll go out and play a little bit of Eric's Lock Tender's reel on this guitar. I played in Orkney tuning, so I hope you enjoy that. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, consider coming over to pegheadnation.com, not just for our gear demos, but also for all of our lessons, not just for guitar, but many stringed and fretted instruments. We'd love to see you there. My name is Teja Gerken. Here's a bit of Eric Sky's The Lock Tender's Reel.